Bonjour. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Juan, here as always with my partners in crime, Mark, aka Kiwi, and Kevin, aka Fuzzy Papaya. And
Hey,
we like movies. Say hello, fellas.
hello,
Heyo.
fellas.
As mentioned on our last episode, after a brief hiatus, we are back with a vengeance for season 2. And we are kicking it off with the roundhouse kick right to your noggin. That is the film Bullet Train. Released in the US in August of 2022, directed by David Leitch and starring Brad Pitt, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry, Hiroyuki Sanada, Bad Bunny, Logan Lerman, Zazie Beetz, and more, including surprise cameos. We are going to break this thing down from the engine card to the caboose. But first, let me tell you what this movie is about. I will be reading from IMDb with some added notes. Bullet Train, based off a Japanese novel called Maria Beetle by Kotaro Isaka, which has also been adapted into a play. The film Bullet Train is the story of an unlucky assassin, Ladybug, played by Brad Pitt, who is determined to do his job peacefully after one too many gigs have gone off the rails. Get it? His
I see
his
what you did
mission
there.
in this one is to board the train, steal a briefcase containing $10 million, and exit the train. But fate has other plans. Ladybug's mission puts him on a collision course with lethal adversaries from around the globe, all with connected yet conflicting objectives on the world's fastest train. For Ladybug, this is all exacerbated by the fact that he has chosen a path of nonviolence since undergoing therapy and reading a self help book, which leads him to refuse to use a gun. The end of the line is just the beginning in this nonstop thrill ride through modern day Japan. Bullet Train was produced by 87 North and Sony Pictures and distributed by Columbia Pictures with a runtime of 2 hours and 7 minutes. The movie was shot on a budget of $90 million and went on to earn $30 million on opening weekend and $240 million worldwide. I think that makes it a success.
Yeah.
Kevin, or Fuzzy Papaya, this was your pick. Give us your initial thoughts.
First of all, my first thought is great opening, Juan. Way to knock it out of the ballpark. Um, Bullet Train is a fun, action-packed movie. Um, I only I loved it. It was fun. I was into it. There's only two things that I quibble with, and we'll get to that
You
later.
what?
But quibble, it's a word. But
Quibble?
quibble,
Quibble.
Quibble,
Oh.
quibble. And we will get to that later. But yeah, I liked it. It was fun. Um, it was quick. It moved along at a good pace, and yeah, that's all I can say about it. What about you, Mark? What do you think?
I thought it was a little too long, and I thought it was just trying to be too over the top, and having all the puzzle pieces fall together perfectly to make this story. It just it got to the point where it was just boring, and outside of a couple funny moments and some nice cinematic sequences, I was pretty much bored by the end of it.
Mm. Yeah, that's refreshing to hear. I wasn't expecting that from Mark, but it sounds like he and I are going to be have more in common than Kevin and I. Here's what I got from Kevin's little review there at the beginning. You know how during some of the trailers they show quotes from critics.
Yeah.
His would say, "I loved it." Uh, Kevin, and that's what he would be remembered by. He
No, I
loved.
think it would be. It had me quibbling.
No, I quibbled with a couple of things I quibbled with.
This movie made me feel quibbled.
Quibbled to my core.
Um, all right, let me start by stating, the obvious, which you guys know. I have lost the taste for this type of movie. It's mindless action.
Mm-hmm.
It's clear that David Leitch, who was a former stuntman who did
Mm-hmm.
stunts for Brad Pitt in Fight Club, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and Troy,
Mm-hmm.
and his production company, 87 North, it's clear that they have an action fetish.
Yes.
He's directed Deadpool 2, Nobody with Bob Odenkirk, Hobbs and Shaw, the Fast and Furious spinoff, which I actually liked.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah. Atomic Blonde, did not see. And he co-directed John Wick. And he's good at what he does. There's nothing wrong with the action in this movie or in any of those other films, except for maybe an exaggerated use of CGI. But outside of that, there just isn't much else. For me, it was unremarkable. And even, the attempts to be profound and philosophical, for me, they just fell flat, because at the end of the day it's really all spectacle and no depth, and the sort of forced ramblings in the script about fate versus free will are just too obvious and spoon fed. So this was certainly a ride, but it was no thrill. And I have other issues, but let's turn it over to someone else and go from there.
I'm gonna tell you one of the biggest issues that I had, and which is why I couldn't find myself interested in this movie. I did not at all care for Brad Pitt's character. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he was just like, I didn't care. I know he's supposed to be unlucky and things just work out, but he also like was sarcastic but
Yeah.
dumb. Like, I
Yeah.
couldn't figure his character out. Like, he was all over the place.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like he was bored with this mission that he was in, and then I was bored with just watching him. And
Yeah.
so that was just hard for me to even fall behind. So that right there from the beginning is
Yeah.
what had me at a loop with this movie.
Yeah, I agree. I think his character, in some ways, it was like it just didn't make sense. It was like an oxymoron, because the way he talked, some of the
Mm-hmm.
things he said,
Yeah.
it was like he was a hippie, right? But then he was a hitman. And like hitmen are like very precise, very professional, at least the ones that are good at it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like it just didn't make sense, the
But I,
character.
I I think what it was is that he was that person before the movie, and then he had his breakdown, whatever, went to therapy. That's what they were trying to allude to, and now he's a different person.
Yeah, but
That wasn't who he was
different person
before the movie
is
started.
this different person is just scatterbrained. I feel like he's just all over the place, and
Hmm.
he had no rhyme or reason to anything he was doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there definitely was. It was not as clearly defined, the character, which maybe to Kevin's point is part of the story. But something that even bothered me was, I mean, there were times where I felt like he was good, even with the way that he delivered some lines. But even like my favorite, I mean, the part that made me laugh uh, was when he was talking about how unlucky he has been, and he was sitting there like spying someone's hotel room from his car, and then out of nowhere this bellboy that's committing suicide just lands on the roof of his car, and then he's like driving him to the hospital, and the guy's head like falls through the sunroof or something, and then he's like, hang in there, buddy. um like, that was actually a funny line and a funny moment, but if you go back and watch it, like, his delivery, it just seems off. Um, and what I think, because Brad Pitt is a good actor, and he's also in the movie Babylon, which is, probably going to win a bunch of awards during award season. Um, but Brad Pitt got paid $20 million to be in this movie. Did you know that?
Did not know that.
$20 million, bro, for this movie.
A lot.
The movie's budget was 90 million.
God dang.
Yeah, and I mean, I literally think he was like, this is the easiest thing I've ever had to do for $20 million, because even like his stunts weren't that crazy. So maybe I'm thinking a lot into it, but it seemed to me like he was like, hey, no matter what, I'm getting paid 20 million. They're obviously paying me because they want my name in this. So, for lack of a better, term, I think it felt to me like he was kind of phoning
Or
it in.
or maybe after Babylon and doing all these, sometimes you just want to do something fun that you think's gonna be fun and different, and you know what? You're not trying to be so dramatic.
Well, to that point,
Mhm.
no, go ahead, Mark.
I was gonna say yeah, but it just felt like he was bored. So
Yeah, I
don't.
agree.
I mean, so even if he's just trying to do something fun, it didn't seem like he was having fun.
But what if his character, like Juan said, is a hippie character? What if his characters are like, I'm doing this, but I'm not really into it? I honestly believe what you saw on there was performance, because Brad's just that good. Like, he gave you the performance he wanted to give you.
Yeah. Well, but the story and the dialogue didn't fit what he was trying to portray.
What's that?
Yeah, I mean,
What?
I was like, I'm like, I thought it did, but
it's hard. I mean, for me, it's kind of it's hard to articulate it, but I mean, I agree with what Mark is saying, and I'm a big Brad Pitt fan.
Oh, so am I.
Yeah, and like he's he's a great actor, and he is like one of the few remaining true, like superstars. And but yeah, that's why it was like, whether it was the writing or the performance or the fact that it all happened within, just this movie that really wasn't that good. It was just something about it that just wasn't right. And to I think it was Mark who was saying about him being, Kevin was, Mark said he felt bored, and then Kevin was saying that maybe he was trying to do something new. This movie was filmed like during COVID, and it even started filming at the stage in COVID where the vaccine wasn't even out yet. We didn't know a lot about it. So they were still in what do you call it, like in
lockdown,
quarantine. Yeah, in
Yeah,
quarantine.
Yeah.
So they were like, dude, yeah, I mean, especially if you're Brad Pitt, you're like, you're paying me $20 to get out of my
20
house,
billion.
go and
I'll
interact.
take $20 too to get out of my house.
I said $20.
Did I say $20?
You said $20.
Oh, 20 million, 20. Yeah, so maybe that had something to do
Question.
with it too,
Do you think the
just like that.
production? Do you think the production was anything like The Bubble?
What?
And maybe that's why I produced that. It was all craziness.
Maybe could have been. Could have been.
It sounds like they all got along pretty well.
I think.
And I don't know. Yeah.
Go.
No, I was just gonna say, I don't know if they like all had to stay in the same place. It sounds like they were all in their own trailers.
They were all in their own train cars.
But I will tell you one thing about the story that really bothered me. I don't get the point of Bad Bunny's character in this movie, because they did a whole backstory. I'm like, okay, they're gonna lead up to him. Dude dies like 2 minutes into his confrontation, and I was like, well, maybe they did all that so they could have his knife at the end. But I'm like, they could introduce the knife differently. It was that I thought was a waste. Like, I thought it was okay, but it was just wasted because there was like no reason to have it.
Well, I agree, and I thought he was a terrible casting decision. First, I just don't really like him, but
That was
then
one of my two quibbles.
yeah, but then after he died, he was still like there, and his dead body was sitting there, and it kept like getting moved. So it was
He
kind
got
of like
paid $5 million to be dead and moved around the set.
dude, I hope they didn't pay him $5 million for that, but
What do you
See,
but
mean?
I
He
was
did a
hoping
really good howl.
he did, but like then Zazie Beetz got put there. I was hoping everyone was gonna end up in that cart just sitting down and posed up.
Oh, it was almost that way.
Yeah, that's why I was like, ooh, they're just gonna keep adding people, but then they didn't even do that.
So I have to go back to boring Brad Pitt's character. I think what what made me hit the bottom is that interaction that he had with the Hornet, Zaza Beats character, um, which is a shame. She should have been in the movie like the whole time because she's
yeah,
phenomenal in everything that she does. But anyways, uh, yeah, he was sitting there going, "Can I get you water? Or can I?" Like it wasn't even funny sarcastic. It was just like
yeah,
he was like, "Oh, I guess I'm gonna try and be funny in this moment because I know she's dying and she can't do anything." I don't know. It just there was no, and I rolled my eyes. I'm like, "Oh boy," so he just really has no interest in this character right now. And
yeah,
again, I'm a huge Brad Pitt character fan, so like I'll watch it just for him. So I just felt like from what I've gotten in him from him in the past, it felt dialed in this movie, or not dialed in, phoned in
yeah.
this movie.
Well, let me speak to that. Let me throw an idea at you and see how this resonates with you. This is my second major issue with this movie, and I want to hear Kevin's second quibble. But here's mine. So I'm actually of the belief that like that nothing is really original, right? Everything is imitating or building off of what came before it.
Mm-hmm.
But even as you do that, through that imitation, you stumble upon or you arrive at innovation, right? And we see this with Quentin Tarantino, right? He has said many times that he has this massive mental encyclopedia of films that he's watched in his lifetime since he was a little boy, and a lot of things from those films make their way onto his celluloids.
Mm-hmm.
But within that, right, as he does like shot for shot duplicates, or steals tropes and ideas or characters and storylines, within that, Quentin Tarantino added his own signature dialogue, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he edited his movies in a way that we hadn't really seen before. And then the way that he arranged his timelines and even the music that he used in his films, right? There's like all this innovation that came out of it. The problem with Bullet Train is that it imitates, but it doesn't innovate at all. And so it lacks that particular quality that makes it unique, fresh, exciting, and exceptional. I felt like this movie wanted to have the characters from Snatch, the violence from Deadpool, the mystery of Death on the Nile, and the fun of The Man Who Knew Too Little, and it only really delivers on one of those things, but in a dull way. I mean, in the opening, it literally rips off Saturday Night Fever, and it's like, why?
Because it was cool, man. I guess, but no. So to go off what you say, like Tarantino is good for his dialogue. So like, while he might be not, it's I wouldn't say it's a yeah, it's he's not ripping off anyone. It's an homage. It's a
Yeah,
way but
yeah,
he's putting his personal touch on it, right?
mm-hmm,
His personal touch is that dialogue, those conversations, the interactions with the characters. That's what we're there for. So like for my friend David here, he's a stylized violence guy,
mm-hmm,
and this movie really didn't have that much of it. I mean, the last 20 minutes when the whole train, the final showdown train scene, that was probably the most action in the movie, and there still wasn't that much.
mm-hmm,
You had about 5 minutes of Brad Pitt, slowly going through cars through a collision, so like there wasn't much there. And I feel like he was trying to get us with like a cool story with cool characters. And I mean, I think at the end of the day, I really only like Lemon and Tangerine.
mm-hmm.
Outside of that, everyone else just I didn't care for. I,
Yeah,
I almost died laughing when Michael Shannon ended up being White
yeah,
Death.
yeah.
So like it feels like he didn't give his personal touches the same way Tarantino does,
Exactly. And it was like an emphasis on trying to be cool with the characters, with the story, and even with the look of the film, which again, I don't have anything negative it wasn't like it was done terribly, but there just wasn't an equal balance of
Yeah.
of high quality in all those areas.
We should have got
So
cool action. That's what we needed.
Yeah.
it was more a plate of Twinkies instead of the sizzling steak. Is what y'all saying?
So
I
what
don't know if I've said that before.
what's your other quibble here, Kiwi?
All right, this is
Oh
my
no,
quibble.
you're fuzzy
Um,
papaya.
yeah, I'm Kiwi.
My second quibble is I don't like Juan. You mentioned it when he was on that little stakeout, and he looked into the like when the guy died, he was spying on that couple. I don't see why the gratuitous sex scene like clip had to be there if the rest of the movie wasn't going to be like sexualized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, I was like, this movie's fun, and my girls woke up later because I was watching it early in the morning. They woke up later and they enjoyed the movie. But I was like, man, if I sat down and watched the beginning with this, they would have to not watch that part. But that's the only part that I would object to because it's like sexualized and that like there wasn't like sexy scenes later or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And that was my one quibble. I'm like, you just threw that in there just to throw it in.
Yeah.
And it was kind of, to me, it was kind of dumb. I was like, why would you even throw that if, like I said, there's no other sexualization, there's no even romances going on or anything. Like it doesn't have to be a part of the story. And that was a quibble I had with the movie. I'm like, why'd you have to throw that in? Because now, like, it just limits a little bit
Yeah. So let
people
me
to
ask
watch
you,
it.
going off of that, the scene with the water bottle, for some reason, when it was flashing, when the bottle was just sitting in the train going through all the scenes, I could have swore there was like a scene where it flashed two people having sex. And I was like, whoa, 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 where did that come from? And I tried to rewind because it was like all the scenes are so quick that it was
Hmm.
almost it's like impossible for me to pinpoint one exact scene. But did you guys see anything like that when it was going through that water bottle scene?
Or did the water bottle flashback?
Yeah, the water bottle flashback.
Yeah, I
The
mean the
water
scene of
bottle
the
character intro.
exactly the water bottle was actually a character, which
I thought
yeah,
that was great.
if that's not enough to tell you how ridiculous it was. um no,
Yeah, that
I,
was
I didn't
great.
see that. I
All to be
definitely
thrown.
yeah. um
Dust.
i I definitely saw and agree with Kevin about that 2 second shot at the beginning. Like, why was that there? But no, I didn't see the one that you are referring to. But Kevin, man, you got to check that Common Sense Media before you watch these movies
Well, no,
with,
I
with the
watch it. I
kiddos.
watch it before. I watch no, because like Common Sense Media was also okay with turning red, and the issues they had with it weren't the issues I had with it. So that's why
Yeah.
I was watching it by myself first, and that's
But
why I was like,
I mean, at least a nude or a sex scene, it would tell you. Like, if you read through it, it'd be like, hey, at this point, there's
oh
this.
yeah. Well, I knew. I think I told like I told someone like I knew there was a because I had read something. I knew there was a quick scene in the beginning. That's why I didn't want to watch it with the girls first
Mm,
because I wanted to see what it was if and stuff. And I was like, yeah, they can't see.
yeah, yeah. All right, let me hit you guys with something else and some other issues and see what you think. So, this was another big one for me, right? During interviews, Brad Pitt kept bringing up, and he was so proud, that this was an international cast, as if that was such a special thing. Most movies are already very diverse and they're
Hmm.
naturally international productions. Like, just stay and read the credits, right? All those people are not from one place. Um, so, but in this case, not only was that, I feel like, a stupid piece of virtue signaling, but I think the casting in this way actually hurt the movie. Like Mark said, I hated that Michael Shannon played the White Death, and like how funny, like, oh, the White Death,
Yeah.
um like, I hated that Brian Tyree did a fake British accent because it was so obvious and distracting. And the only reason that someone would be confused by it or believe that he was British is just because he's not super well known to the point where people just know automatically that he's American.
Yeah.
Um, Bad Bunny again was a terrible casting choice. Maybe they did that because he was definitely like in the trailers and in the commercials, so to try to capture like a younger generation.
Hmm.
But overall, if it was like an intentional, like, you know, I think, I mean, I want to believe that it was like, okay, this movie's set in Japan, they're assassins, so they could be from everywhere, so it was more story driven as opposed to, well, let's just try to make this quota of diversity or whatever. But either way, I think that some of these choices like actually hurt the movie. And Michael Shannon's a great actor. Like, I
Yeah.
like Michael Shannon a lot, but as soon as I saw him, because he's supposed to be this Russian guy that basically like took down the yakuza to like, to take over. And it wasn't believable for 1 second, man. When they were doing the fight scenes, they never showed his face, and it was like, okay, it was because they were hiding his identity, but no, it's because Michael Shannon can't do that.
Yeah, I gave a because I really didn't know who would be playing White Death, and I just
Oh,
So, yeah.
we lost him.
But I guess I didn't think it was so bad because it's like you said, it could have been if he was still alive, David Carradine. I don't care.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's a white guy. He's killing all the Yakuza people.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. It just, again, there was something about it where, like, you know, it was like the trying to fit these pieces, these shapes through these
Well,
slots, and they
well,
didn't just.
I
Yeah,
can tell you this. I don't know who Brian Tyree Henry is from the Hole in the Wall. I
yeah,
thought he was British. I was
yeah,
like it didn't come off. Like I said, I don't think I've ever seen him in anything. So I was like, okay.
yeah.
I'm like, and I actually liked his character. I was like, hey, Thomas the Tank.
He
That
was in
guy's a decent.
Eternals. He was in Eternals, and
Haven't
he's
watched
from the
Eternals
show
yet.
Atlanta. He's from the show Atlanta, the
No,
Donald
I looked
Glover
him
show.
up, but I have
Yeah.
not seen anything with him in it.
Well, and what's funny is that, like, Aaron, like, if you just reversed it and you had Aaron Taylor Johnson do an American accent, like, he's done that very successfully in the past. So I don't know. I mean, it's definitely of note
But they were
to say
but
that,
they were supposed
it
to be
was
twins,
believable to
so
you.
they
Yeah,
either both had to be American or both be British because they're twins.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, um, I guess what I'm saying is Aaron Taylor Johnson does a better American
English then.
accent than yeah. But Mark is back. So Mark, you were saying that you were surprised. Well, oh, you were curious who was going to be the White Death.
yeah, I was laughing at that when they gave the final reveal. Um, I just it didn't, I don't know, it didn't vibe because he's not really an action star, and
Mm-hmm.
again, this is an action movie. This is a visual stylized action movie. Um, I the all the cameos I didn't like either because then it just
Yep.
felt like it was becoming just
Yep.
oh, look who's here, because again, Zaza Beats being there for 5 minutes. Ryan Reynolds being there for two. Uh, sorry
If
for
even
everyone
10
that's
seconds.
listening. Yeah, no, that's definitely a spoiler. I guess it's not really a spoiler because he doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Um,
Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum. Well, at least he was in a couple scenes. He stayed in that seat the whole movie.
But
Yeah.
no, no, finish. I mean, I was just gonna say that was, I mean, almost like word for word was my next point. The cameos were pointless,
Yeah.
and
I
it's like, so sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying I liked I did like Tangerine and Lemon. I don't know why he was British because when he started talking, I started laughing because I know he's not. I know I've seen him in Atlanta. Like I know he's not British. So with all the British actors that we already have that can easily go between English and British, like, well, it's not. They're still speaking English. They just have their accent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Um, yeah, it was interesting that you got a guy who doesn't fit that role that this was obviously written for.
Yeah, and um I agree. Again, about that point as well. Like, lemon and tangerine were the only connection and the only thing that, um, you know, uh, um, that you they allowed you to like feel
Uniforce.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, their connection. But I mean, I did like, as far as the story goes, that every character kind of got like their own time to shine. Like, they gave a good, even though some of those things, like Kevin said, Bad Bunnies, they developed this whole story, and then it was like pretty much which, like, I don't he there was something that didn't make
It's so
sense, because
confusing.
like he knew who he was on the train to kill, and it wasn't Brad Pitt. So like, I wasn't sure like why he was going at Brad Pitt so
Oh,
hard.
because once he saw him, he's like, "Hey, you're the waiter from that," so he thought he might have been involved too.
But he knew who the person was
Yeah, like
initially.
well, he knew, yeah, the main person, but that's why, at least that's the way I took it. Is like he remembered him as the waiter,
Yeah,
so he's like, "Hey, I want to tell you." But that
yeah,
also brings up another thing real fast before we continue. I'm like, how long was it between his wife dying and them being on that train?
I
Because
know.
Brad Pitt went to therapy, all this stuff, and Bad
Yeah,
Bunny was still wearing the same jacket with her blood on it.
yeah.
And I was like, how long? And then you remember the waiter.
It
I'm
was
like, I
his
told you, I didn't
reminder,
like that
man.
backstory.
He never took it off.
Dude,
I
he's
was like,
been
dude,
wearing that outfit for 5 years, waiting for that train.
He vowed never to take it off until he could avenge his wife's death, or soon to be
yeah.
wife's death.
And
Yeah,
then he never found her until, I think, was it the White? Who hired them?
hmm,
The White Death hired them to go on the
Yeah,
train, right?
the
Yeah.
White Death hired everyone.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but again, even about lemon and tangerine, like you, you, they again, because that they're good actors and the acting was good, you feel something for their bond and their connection, but at the same time, I mean, when they died, I was like, oh, that sucks for his brother, but at the same time, like, I didn't really care because they're still
You
horrible
heartless
people.
bastard. I
Dude,
felt for
they're
that so
horrible
much.
people. Like, so you can't really relate to anybody in this story. That's a
No,
problem.
I did really like I really like the Thomas the Tank Engine references, and it
Mm,
really made me interested to watch that with my son because of like how
Oh
they're
yeah,
saying that show like has these types of people, and you're a Diesel and you're a Thomas, and I was like, man, that's really interesting, and I definitely want to watch that with him, and like I'm going to pay attention to it when we ever get to it.
yeah. It grew on me. I agree with you. Like, at first when he was doing it, so this character, one of the assassins, he uses this metaphor of Thomas, the train
Well,
engine.
it's not a
the
metaphor. It's
tank
like
engine.
he
Thomas the Tank.
uses those characters as a way because he's
Ta-
really good at reading people.
yeah, yeah. As
To help him understand the world, basically, people.
yeah, the archetypes
Yeah,
of
because
the characters on Thomas. He
right.
uses it, yeah, to understand people's motives and stuff. Um, yeah, I agree with you. Like, it ended up really growing on me and being and actually making sense, and even, yeah, the same thing, like making me curious because I've never really watched that show. But at the beginning, it was a little bit annoying at first, and it just felt like something they were going to be forcing,
Yeah,
and it would have been really bad, like if it didn't work
yeah,
and they kept like trying to force it in, but it actually worked, and
yeah,
it was probably, outside of just the relationship between lemon and tangerine, it probably was the most interesting thing about the movie for me.
yeah. I really enjoyed that. Um, one of my quiblet is
Quibble.
my oh
Quibble.
sorry
It's a
my
quibble.
my
He's
quibble.
thinking about giblets.
Your boy's hungry. I'm sorry.
Quibble is a smaller quibble. That's what
My
it is.
my quibble with this movie, which I want to say it's a big one because it's just so stupid, but I understand at the end of the movie it all made sense. Prince,
Yeah.
so we have Prince,
Girl.
who is the White Death's daughter, and it's revealed at the end, but her character was just so stupid,
Yeah.
And the first initial reason why she pushed the kid off the building was because you're a bad father. I was like, oh, what? So you're gonna finish the job, you idiot? Like, what? I'm gonna punish you because you couldn't kill your son. Like, that's so stupid.
Yeah.
I tried to kill your son because you're a bad father. Like, what? And then it just everything, the helpless, and everyone was being okay with her act, and it just her character was just every time I saw her on screen, I was just bored with her. And
Yeah.
the whole like we got this guy, I forgot what was hold on, what's his name on there? The elder. When the elder has the conversation with her, and then he just lets her go, like walk away. I was just dumbfounded by that. But that only happens so she can have that interaction with the White Death. So her character was just so stupid,
Yeah.
and everything she did was just so dumb. And I it was very every time her scenes popped up, I was just like, oh, I have to hear more about her. I don't care about her. And even
Yeah.
when it revealed, I was just like, yawn, whatever. I don't care.
Like the thing that annoyed me about her is I always hate when there's that one character that just happens to be smarter than everybody else, and I'm like, you're not like, and they just painted her like no matter what happened, like she was always the smartest person in the room,
She got
and then she just
exactly to
dies.
where she got to go, doing what she had to do, and it was
Yeah,
perfect. She got no, come on.
Yeah.
and her
I,
comeuppance was good.
yeah. I agree. She was annoying.
But
The only thing I liked about her was actually just her character. It was actually a good sort of like representation, or even like an homage to like a Japanese anime character, like because
yeah,
she was dressed as a schoolgirl, even like the way she kind of like her flip-flopped her persona. But again, isn't that like the opposite of diversity when it's a white girl playing like the trap, like, so they can't even get their crap straight. But
yeah.
but yeah, I did not like her. um Another thing about this, I could seriously, and I'm a fan, like I like stuff she's done, but I could go the rest of my life without having to see Sandra Bullock's synthetic Barbie-esque face, the result of who knows how many plastic surgeries and Botox.
She,
Like, she looks like a Barbie, and not in a good way. It's so off-putting.
at first, I thought she looked like iRobot, like artificial intelligence. I'm like, oh damn, we got robots in this movie now.
So wait, I thought that was all like movie makeup or stuff that they did. So that's what she really looks like now.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
If you look at the last few things she's done, like, she's expressionless, bro, because of all the Botox. Like,
Uh,
she hardly makes expressions.
I think the last thing I
It's
saw with her was like Blindside.
Oh, that was a while ago.
could you tell that was her with the voice?
No, I was trying to
Oh
figure it
God.
out the whole time.
Yeah, I couldn't either. And as soon as they showed her emotionless face, I went, "Ah, yeah, that makes sense."
Michael Jackson. Also, dude, why was Logan Lerman in this movie?
Yeah,
Like,
that's another.
you could have just got any extra to do that. Why'd you have to get, like, it didn't make any sense.
Because he
What?
could
What?
pull off the he could pull off the old Punch and Judy. That's why.
Dude,
That's
I yeah, I really thought something was gonna come out of his character, but
yeah.
he just ended up being just a minor blip in the radar of this movie. And his own father killed him. It was just, oh yeah. Now that I'm thinking about that again, I was just like, what? That doesn't make sense. So you hated your son and your daughter? Like, come on. Like, then why'd you
Yeah.
have kids? But you love your
Yeah.
wife? That doesn't
Yeah.
make sense to me.
well, he hated
Especially
his
now that I have a
son.
wife and a kid.
No, he hated his son because he was responsible for his wife dying.
Yeah, all right, okay. But then he completely ignored his daughter. Like, it didn't sound like he ever loved his son.
Yeah, well, it's he's Russian. What are we supposed to do?
But he's not Russian. He's Michael Shannon.
He's from Krypton, I know, but it's fine.
It made no sense. But remember, when this is released in 20 years again, it's gonna have that quote by Kevin. I loved it.
Listen, I found things great when they were outside. They're like, hey, they do look like twins, Aaron and Brad, and he accidentally opened the case. He's like, oh crap.
This movie had me uncontrollably quibbled.
Dude,
And
you
what
know,
about-
I also like. I'm sorry. Actually, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just gonna say, like, who didn't like the line when Lemon said, "And now I have another brother." He's like, "Really?" He's like, "No." I was like, "That was off."
Well, I mean, I actually was hoping they went the Pulp Fiction route, and what was in the case was a mystery, because honestly, in 2022, $10 million, like,
Not even have to buy Bitcoin.
like if you offer it to me, yeah, I'll go on the train for $10 million, but 10 million, like, it would have been cooler if they just didn't show what was in the case.
Yeah.
And then I did think, though, that the elder had the best line in the movie, and I would not watch this again, so I don't know what the line was for word.
What the hell?
It was something to the effect of,
You couldn't even rewind back?
No. This was all as I was taking notes and going back. But no, I mean, I'm pretty much, I have it. It's just not exactly maybe word for word. But it was like he said something. He was talking to Ladybug, and he said, "You never know what terrible fate your bad luck helped you avoid."
Yeah.
Which I actually thought, like, oh, that's really cool to even just think about, you know. But
yeah, like that whole that interaction at the beginning when he's like, "Can I tell you a story?" and he just kept saying, "No, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good. No, I'm good. I'm good."
Why are you being so mean to this old man?
Like, I'm really good. Like, who says that? Like, no, I'm good. If someone's like, "Can I tell you a story?" You're like, yeah, go ahead. Like, you begrudgingly agree to it. This guy's just straight. So, like, how am I supposed to like this character? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so weird. Like, even when he's asking you politely, like, it's just quick, it's short. 2 minutes. And he's like, "No, I'm good. I'm good." It's like,
he had old man smell. He couldn't stand it.
I mean, he did look the part. Say that was old man smell walk. Well, see, there's like these bits and pieces of his character that are just like, why did you do that? Like, that's so weird. Like, I turning down a story from an old man, who does that? Like,
yeah,
you might not want to hear it, but I mean, come on, the guy's, how long has he got left to live? Let him tell the story. You know?
So, yeah.
Now that I know that it's an option, I'm going to be turning down a lot of old man stories.
It's not an option, man.
No, it is now.
I will disown you as a friend.
Dude, it's same. I was so annoyed with him because I wanted to hear the story. Like, it's an old Asian man. You know the story is gonna be awesome. I was like, just let him tell the story.
I'm about to learn something. I know that much is happening.
All right. I want to give you guys some fun facts about this
Love
movie.
them.
All right. First fun fact. Did you know that Antoine Fuqua was originally supposed to direct this?
I did. Not fun. Next one.
And I think he actually still produced it, but did not direct it.
Yeah. He didn't
Is your next one the Lady Gaga one? Because I know that one too.
Next one.
All right.
The character played by Sandra Bullock was originally meant to be played by Lady Gaga.
Beautiful. Love it.
Number 3.
Yeah.
Did you just do a snare hit?
Listen, season 2, I'm working on stuff. I am working on stuff.
You got sound effects? Damn.
Okay. The fruit truck that Lemon is driving at the end to kill the prince is the same truck that almost hits Ladybug at the beginning.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Okay.
Ladybug,
that.
you remember when he's on the phone and he's about to cross the street and he
Yeah.
almost gets hit by a truck?
Yeah.
It's the
Well,
same
it's
truck.
displaying his bad luck.
Yeah. Which turned into good luck at the end.
Well, bad luck. He would have got hit by the truck.
Yeah.
It's good luck.
And that's it. Those are my fun facts
Very
about
nice. Those were pretty fun.
Bullet Train.
Those were pretty fun.
There were. A couple of them were fun.
Well, with that, that's all
You're
I have
a diesel.
about
Kevin's
this.
a diesel, man.
Yeah.
Oh my god! This
There we go.
production is being done on an iMac from the 1998 series.
Yeah, baby.
It sounds like he's Kevin McAllister with a talk boy in Home Alone 2.
There's so many things.
You filthy animal.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Speaking of another David Leitch production,
Yeah.
is anyone got any interest in Violent Night with David Harbour? What are your thoughts on that?
No, I've heard it's okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's more action than like story. You know, I don't want to hear about how he lost Mrs. Claus and Revenge Night. Like, yawn, I'm good. Like, just be protecting the kids, man. Somebody steal the presents, you gonna go kill people. Like, just be something simple. But
the people I know who've seen it have liked it.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm always down for a good Christmas movie. I mean, my favorite one's Jingle All the Way. Like, it's just not. That's not the traditional Christmas movie, you know. So I like those unorthodox Christmas movies.
But you're not running out to watch that in theaters. You'll wait till it hits a stream.
My guy, ever since streaming started, and I'm not running to the theater at all.
Isn't there a new Grinch movie, a violent Grinch movie that came out?
That must be animated. I haven't heard about that.
No. It's like a bloody Grinch movie.
Oh,
It's
like a horror.
I didn't hear about Michael Myers reprising his role.
Yeah, I might have seen something about that, but not too sure.
I feel like it would have been
maybe.
Anyway, it's called
All
The
right,
Main One
well,
or something like that. But yeah.
Fair enough.
Let's get to our ratings to close this bad boy up. And Kevin, do you want to unveil our ratings upgrade?
Oh, okay. No, I don't.
All right. He really is taking that option from our
are we still doing Little Jerry's, by the way? Was that discussed? Was that
No, that was not discussed, so it remains unchanged.
Okay. So we are now in season 2 doing a 1 to 5 Little Jerry's for more nuanced ratings.
To all the viewers out there, yes, correct. Our next season will be doing 1 to 7.
No. So
Did
Kevin,
I capture it all?
And then 1 to 9.
Yeah. You captured
12.
it. 1 to 5. So this was your pick. You get to start us off.
All right. Listen, everyone. Nothing that comes after what I say needs to be listened to. This was a fun movie. It was enjoyable. Don't expect anything deep. Go for your plate of Twinkies. No steak. Not a lot of sizzle. It's a fun movie, man. Don't get too deep into it. I give it a 2. It's average. It's actually below average. It's not, but it's fun, man. Just enjoy it for what it is. It's just not everything has to be Quentin Tarantino or Christopher Nolan creating the A-bomb again. It's just a fun movie, and I enjoyed it, and I would watch it again. And there you go, a solid 2.
How is a 2
Mark,
something you're gonna watch again? Like, these ratings are already blowing my mind.
I would watch 2 again.
What? So the only movie you wouldn't watch is a 1 then?
Yeah. I'm not gonna a 1 or a 0. Wait, are we allowed to do zeros in the new
Bro,
season?
it didn't matter. You did what you wanted to do, so I don't know why you asked me that. Yeah.
So yeah, I would watch it 2 again.
Bust out the fractions this season. Let's do it, bro.
I'm not like, I may not be running out to see it, but I'm like, all right, I'll put it on. I'm like, put it in the background. It's fun. It was fun. I've
Yo,
already suggested it to 3 people.
your bar is so low, my guy. It's on the floor.
It's okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Well,
Mark, what
I
did
mean,
you think of this movie?
So out of the 1 to 5, for me, anything below a 3, I'm not going to waste my time on. And so this is a 2 little Jerry's for me. It's wasted calories. Don't go for Twinkies. Go for some ice cream. Anything's better than Twinkies. These are wasted calories. There were some memorable moments, but not enough to, not enough to take hostage of your time. What was that runtime? 2 hours and 7 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. Save that and like go do something else. Go like touch grass or something. It's more enjoyable than watching this movie.
Wow, and still there's a level below that because
Oh
this
yeah.
was a 2.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay. Um, yeah, for me, this was bad. And in some ways, I feel affirmed because last season, there were a lot of surprises and there were a lot of movies that I judged beforehand that I was wrong about. This was a movie that I judged beforehand and I was completely right about. It was exactly what I expected. Again, all spectacle, no substance. This gets a 1 from me. The only way that I could ever recommend to you to watch this movie would be in 1997 if you were at a Blockbuster and you wanted to watch a new release and all the other new releases had been rented out and this was the only movie that was a new release that had just come out. Then I would say, sure, go ahead and get it, watch it, knock yourself out. But outside of that, there's no need for anyone to ever watch this because it's just a waste of time. That's not even to discourage David Leitch. Keep doing it, keep going, keep honing your craft, but you got to
But
do
actually
better.
do it. Yeah, like follow it.
Yeah, you got to do better than this, man.
I will say this is more of a rent one, get one free night for me.
Oh, this would be the free one?
It would be the free one.
Would you rewind it before returning it, or would you be
Nah.
that disgusted?
Yeah. Yeah. I'd be disappointed when I got to the end. Even with the payoff, the payoff, yeah, is there. But no, I'm good. Good.
Mark,
You're apoplectic. That's all I can tell you.
did you know Kevin when he worked at Blockbuster, or did we meet after that?
I want to say between him and Nelbo, I think there were times he was there. It might be at the end of his arc, or it might have just been at the end of the arc, like he had just left. And
Yeah, because Neville started working after I was there.
okay. So yeah, so it was after you, but we would go and visit him.
Okay.
Kevin, did you have customers that would ask you for recommendations?
Dang, Skippy, bro.
He would say, "You don't have enough time in the world."
And there are people where when they would put it up, I'm like, "Are you really renting this?" And I'm like, "You don't want this, man." Like,
oh my god,
good.
this guy's gatekeeping movies over here.
I was like, "This is like." I worked there with my friend Rob, and Rob would just grab it and toss it. He's like, "You don't want this, grab it. Here, try this movie, man. I'll give you one of my free rentals."
I would hate you guys if I went to your Blockbuster. Bro, let me watch SpongeBob. I don't care. I don't care what you like. I just want to watch a crappy movie.
And you'd come back and you'd be like, "You guys, you were right. It stunk."
It was crappy, but I loved it. I lived every second of it.
Those were the days, man. Those were the days. But
fun ride.
Anyway, let's wrap this up. This was
wrap it up,
a lot of fun. I think this was a great way to kick off season 2. I think we've raised our production quality on many levels, including whatever Kevin is tinkering.
Listen, the production level was raised, but the bar show held was not.
Oh man,
we keep that bar low.
Spotify top 10 podcast list. Look out, we're coming.
We get a couple more countries under our belt.
But yeah, if you like what you're listening to, tell a friend, share the episodes, help us out. We want to be heard. If you care. If not, that's fine. Thanks for listening.
Tell me more.
It's and with that, I will close my part of this by saying sayonara.
Love you.